Hey everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino. And yes, I am still sick. It's just killing me, this thing. Welcome to my newest segment of Markets A Look Ahead. Just a couple of things. I apologize for missing my post-market wrap-up on Friday. It's crazy what happened. So I did my video in the morning, and then I felt like I was hit by a freight train about an hour or two later, and I just zonked out. And pretty much I've remained that way until this moment. If you would have seen me like 15 minutes ago, you would not believe what I looked like. Literally, who did it and freaking ran. I hadn't shaved since that time. My hair was like, oh my God. Anyway, enough about me. And I want to thank all of you for the, maybe thousands of get well messages that I have gotten. I love all of you from the bottom of my heart, and I mean that. And we are a freaking team, the team of teams. All right, with that all aside, let's move forward here, people. So here's the story right now, and it's big. Big, if it's true. Apparently, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this. I have a candy in my mouth, by the way. Anyway, apparently there was some kind of a phone call again between the United States President Trump and President Xi of China, in which there was discussed some kind of a very big deal with regard to this U.S.-China trade war. Before I even move forward, I want you to remember this. Prior to the truce, which we have now, which it's not really a truce, and you all know that, it's almost an exact same scenario. The phone call, the promise of some kind of a big deal, which turned out to be a dud. If you recall, my God, it's word for word. It's the same thing. And this is what I'm worried about. Although this is being widely reported, it's everywhere. I haven't heard anything specific whatsoever about it. Again, this harks back to this exact same thing, word for word, same scenario, phone call, and nothing happened. The markets went up on this news and then went down because it turned out to be not true. So I would like to believe, and maybe I'm gullible, I probably am gullible, I would like to believe that this is true this time and not some kind of a fake story being floated out to prop up this stock market. People, we have witnessed a few things over the past couple of weeks that have been really in fact, they were unbelievable to a large degree. We get the Treasury Secretary, Mnuchin, you all know how I love this guy. Well, he goes out and meets with 6 of the world's largest banks, which just happen to be on Wall Street. And then our president makes an announcement to buy the dip, and then we get a miraculous almost 1,100 point swing higher. With regard to the markets, this is financial engineering in my view. And had not the president done that, while stocks had just went in an actual bear market, the technical term for a bear market is a 20% drop, well, that's where we were. And he's telling people to buy the market in a bear. Well, it turned into an actual bear market. Just seems a little off to me. And I understand what he's trying to do. I get it. But I think this is a very dangerous game that he's playing. And yes, the Wall Street banks, the central banks have enormous power. They can pull this market every which way they want to. But I don't think that it's the job, really, of the president to pull the markets around. We need a real market. You know that better than anybody else. And let me say this with regard to a real market. Look at the yield curve. The yield curve is still a big, fat, red flag for this market. Now, going back to this big story, I can't over stress how big this is. And the timing of this is kind of suspicious too. And I'm really hoping this is real. And our president isn't just floating this story out there. Again, we've seen it before, just to prop up the stock market. I despise this. I really do. I want the president to be successful, but I don't want him to get involved in rigging the markets. It's just too much. We're going to find out soon whether this is real or not, people. If this story, even if it's not real, it's going to take a while for the market to figure it out, that it's not real. And I would expect that we're going to see stock futures go higher off of this story, true or not. Let me just say this. If we just happen to see later on today stock futures drop, even with this story out there, there's big problems. However, like I said, the most likely scenario here is for stock futures to gain off of this story, true or not. You know, I want to take a poll here, because there are tens of thousands of you that watch these videos all over the world. Please put partisan politics aside. I want you to think with a clear head. Do you believe that this story right now is true with regard to some kind of a China trade deal, a really big deal, according to the president? Again, keep politics out of it, but also remember, we heard this before, word for word. All right, so I promise to read the comments. Is this story right now between a big deal with China and the U.S. regarding trade real, or is it a ploy to prop up the stock market? I want to hear from all of you. Personally, and I'm not going to talk about that real quick, but the fact that Mnuchin met with 6 of the world's largest banks, and then President Trump issues his buy order or recommendation, that was, I don't know how anyone could look at that another way. Absolute 100% in our face rigging of the market. Does that seem real to you? Again, please put partisan politics or whatever the hell you want to call it aside. If this was being done by the opposite party, okay, that you are affiliated with, and you saw the President of the United States do this with Wall Street banks via his Treasury Secretary, do you think that would be rigging of the markets, or do you think this would be completely fine? I really want to hear your opinions on these things. Please keep a clear head in your comments. All right, with that said, let's see how this plays out. This is the biggest thing right now that has the potential to affect this markets. And like I said, if it's real and we get a deal here, the stock market will respond in a positive way. We'll get a relief rally. Whether it lasts is another thing. The market is still massively overvalued, even though we are 4,000 points off the high. 4,000 points off the high in the Dow. Market is still overvalued. The debt market is sending us a big red flag. It's ugly. It's freaking ugly. Again, people, let's see how it plays out. I love all of you from the heart, and I mean that. And we will talk tomorrow. It's going to be all kinds of fun.